If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
Mahesh, I've got a couple of questions before you get started. It will help everybody, okay?
Please.
Yes, so one thing at a time and just focus on my question. I have created a company called AR1
Okay.
in ECC as well as in S4HANA Finance, okay?
Okay.
Number one, can you just pull that up? Can you just list those? Number two question is, what I also try to establish the substitution accounts, but I saw a problem there because I copied these company codes from RK1, RK2 to AR1, AR01. There was one account that you use, 2000. Just go back, go and pull up the company codes. I mean, you can see that all that stuff in there. Yeah, look at this. Here you are. This is the company code that I established, okay?
1 second.
Okay. And I have to, and then I try to, and the same thing on ECC, both. And without having to go through a lot of details, I said, I'll ask you.
But here, if you see here, the chart of accounts are not defined for the AR01.
But why didn't it copy? I took from AR, that's what, I know this.
Chart of accounts will not copy. No, chart of accounts will not copy. Na?
Okay, can you just establish that, fix that for me, please, so I can start moving and we can.
See here, if I take this account, for example, here, if I take the same account.
Yes. What's the transaction code? FS?
FS00.
FS00, okay. And that's what I saw in the configuration, that you have not assigned RK02 to chart of accounts.
Yeah,
you have the same problem. Same problem in our, yeah.
I'll show that. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Simple. Okay, there we have to go to accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, master data.
Correct.
And when you go to the GL accounts, preparations, and here we have the assigned company code to chart of accounts. So when I go here, so when I go to,
go to RK02.
Yeah, so sure, definitely.
Go to RK02.
Yeah.
See that? This is missing.
Who has removed this?
And which chart of accounts you're using? I think you're using RK01.
Yeah, I'm using the same RK1 here also, but who has deleted this? I mean to say that who?
No, I did not delete this.
No, I'm not talking about you, sir. I'm not talking about you.
That's okay. Even if I did, I made a mistake. If I did, okay. So we need to do the same thing for AR01 in here.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for AR01. So you can take YCOA chart of account or you can take any chart of account. Don't worry, okay? So you can take RK01.
No, I exactly want to duplicate. I don't want to do any extra configuration. I'm more interested in copying and using the same set of values what you got.
One second.
Yeah.
1 second.
And now going to the target system thing, okay? Or source system on the initial load.
What is your company code, sir, in the source system?
AR01. Which you're in ECC? It's the same company code right here. Oh, by the way, let me ask you a question. Stop here. I wanted to ask you this question. If I establish a company code AR01 on the central finance side, as well as on the ECC, and if the company name and city are different, will there be a problem?
No problem, sir. Company code is mainly important here.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you that question because I said I deliberately did not change the company code, company description, and city, and I said no. By the way, the currency is the same, USD and USD. Okay.
Because both are same, sir. Both are same.
Okay. Yeah. So there should not be any problem. Now, my question to you now, let's go back and establish 2000 blah blah that account, normal account.
One second. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah. I will now go to.
One second. I'll do that.
And there was an error. Yeah, I'm going to now post some transactions, okay, from ECC, okay, and then I'm going to ask you today to quickly go through the initial load execution, okay.
So one second, sir. We can do that. 1 second. Just hold on.
You should be happy today. Mr. Rustagi, read my notes. So I did. What are you doing here? You are in ECC. Yeah. So this you have to give the posting variant, which
posting variant has to be given here. See, for example, okay, so when I'm taking RK01 or RK02 here, okay, so both okay. So yeah. I don't know why the changes have been removed. All the changes have been removed here.
No, I don't know.
Oh my God.
I just fall.
Yes.
Just why all the changes have been removed? We have done all the changes. Initially, we have seen all the changes. 1 second, sir. Who has removed all the changes? And I'm not asking you, okay, but I'm talking about from the other batches because we are done with other batches. Who has done the changes? Lot of changes have been done. They have removed the fiscal year. They have removed the posting period variant. They are not.
When I know what the changes should be, but can you just go to AR01 and assign that to please? So I don't want to. Just exactly.
No, 1 second, sir. 1 second. Okay, here you have taken the AR01 as a K4. But when I go to the fiscal year assignment here,
I assigned K4.
Sorry.
No. This is no. Go to AR01. I have assigned K4.
So you assigned the K4.
Yes.
Here you assign the variant as a RK02.
So
okay, so
no, yeah.
1 second. RK02. So here the changes have been very good. Okay, so here the changes are looking very good. Okay, so they have not changed anything here.
Yeah,
so they have maintained it as RK02 only. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted you to do one thing because I'm trying to focus on central finance and I'm really listening to your lectures step by step. So it's important that can you just take a look at the configuration of AR01 is okay on both sides so that I don't run into when I run the initial load and pump the transactions. And yesterday we had a problem when you tried to post a transaction, it got an ABAP error and you said you would fix it. So let's go and post a transaction to AR01. You do that. I'll do the same thing, but just do that, make sure it's working. I just ran out of time.
1 second. I'll do that.
What transaction for you? FB 50? Yeah, FB 50.
So let me post to first RK02. Let me see the settings. All the settings are correct or not. Okay, if I go to the GL account, so I'm taking some expenses GL account and I'm debiting and I'm just crediting one account. This is my
This is the
bank
this is the
account.
bank.
So let me
Yes.
post some $1,000 USD, 1,000 INR, $1,000 USD.
Right.
And let me take some value date. Today is the value date, and text I'll take it as a test, something test. Okay. So
Is value date absolutely necessary to put in?
for the bank account, no. So it's a necessary
Yeah,
means okay. If the
for bank
system is
account.
asking about that, so I'm taking the
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
center.
yeah.
I'm taking I'm taking the cost center now. Everything now. If there any mandatory, so I'll press enter. Okay, everything is looks good. Okay, okay, 1,000 debit and 1,000 credit. You can see
Right,
here. Okay,
right.
now
And just
I
post
just
it.
simulate. So
Yes,
you're debiting the travel expenses allowance to the HDFC bank account.
that's
Okay,
fine.
so now I will post it. Yeah, it's got posted successfully now. Okay, see here,
Just go.
10004. Now I'll
Yeah,
go to the document and I will see the display. Now I'll change it to the general ledger view. Now you can
yes.
see here, right? See now
Yeah.
here the line items are coming with see 6 line items. I mean to say that now in SAP S4HANA, now we have posted the transaction in EPX, means it is a source system.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Now
yeah.
you can see the line item, ledger item. Ledger item is 00001 and 00002 because in SAP S4HANA, the line items are getting posted up to 999 and 999 line items. You can see here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go into AR01. Let's just see if that is we are able to post on AR01. Then we are in business. You got to change that to RK.
The chart of accounts are same, no?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think we did.
Yeah, 01, no?
Company code, yes.
So I'm
And
taking some salary accounts. I'm debiting the
yes,
salary account
right.
and I'm crediting one bank account. So I'll take, because you have copied the same account, so I'll take the same accounts, okay? So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, HDFC, one bank account is getting debited and one bank account is getting credited. So
Right,
I'm taking some $100. So I'm,
right.
yeah, $100 I'm taking here. So the value date I'm taking the today. So you're posting some, so I'll take the same because you copied everything. You copied from the S01 only. So okay, so RK01. Now I'll press enter. Now it is telling that do not assign the cost center. Okay, so for your cost center is not required because you're not maintained the controlling area. Now I can simulate. Now I can see everything. Now, yeah.
So
In
I mean,
the source system, there is no, okay, you are done everything. All the settings are correct as per the general ledger.
okay. So go back to the cost center because those two fields, cost center and the order, because those are the cost objects. Okay.
Yeah, the
So
cost objects we'll discuss. Okay, don't worry about that because we'll do the mapping and we'll discuss about. Now, as far as that, now as far as this, okay, you have done the correct settings in the SAP ECC, not in SAP S4HANA. Okay, so all the settings are looking very perfectly in SAP ECC.
yeah. So if I can go and put about 10 transactions, FI transactions,
You can
without
put
going
it.
to CO, I should be able to replicate them.
Yeah, you can able to replicate, but see the settings, whether you have done all the settings correctly or not. Okay, that is very, very important. Actually, now I am worried about who has removed all the settings of RK02. That is what my worry here. Okay, so okay, now if I see here, now all the settings have been deleted. I don't know who has done this setting. Okay, let me verify this. Okay, so I'll do that. Okay.
Okay. So, but I can go ahead and pump 10 transactions tonight, which I'll work tonight.
Now you can, yeah, you can try it out.
Because I'm building a database, okay? That's what I'm doing, okay?
Okay.
Now just quickly tell me very quickly just go through how to execute the initial load for FI transactions, okay? And I'll build that and then I'll give it to people. People can start taking a look at it. Okay, so show me how you're going to execute the initial load.
Initial load, actually you go to the SM from the SAP ECC system. Okay, go to SM30, go to SM30 and press enter. And here you have to give the table name as a, this is the standard SAP table name, vcfin underscore source underscore set. This is the standard SAP table. Okay. Now click on maintain.
Yes.
Now this is the AR01.
Yes.
Okay, so you had to select this icon.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yes.
you are giving the initial load. So the from which period? So if we take here, this is asking in this field you define the starting. That is nothing but starting fiscal period is which to be used for the initial load of the individual accounting documents. Okay, so you are giving it from 1. Okay, so this period is not to delete. Okay, so it will ask you to that. Okay, this field you can define for how many fiscal periods the data is kept and not deleted. Okay, so how many fiscal periods? Okay, so 6 or 7, whatever maybe. Okay, now you are done this. Okay, so you're correct. Okay, now this is the basic first step. And second step, go to SE38.
That's E38.
Yeah, go to SE38. And here, directly it has come. Now check this program actually. Fin underscore cfin underscore node. Okay, this is what in the initial class. In the initial class we have done this setting actually to see the whether all the settings are perfect or not. Now go to this go to this program.
2137557.
Mahesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Mahesh, this is Rajesh. A quick question. The program we are going to run now, is it something that we have to run for every company code that we are doing, or is it one-time thing?
No, it will be only for one company. It's replicable for all the company codes, not for single company codes.
Yeah, and I wonder now, I mean, this is something you have done in the past, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, correct.
And may I know why you're doing it now?
No, actually to see whether my all the settings, okay, whatever the prerequisites which have been done here, which are getting updated or not. Okay, see what happens here for every change in SAP ECC. Okay, see ECC system is nothing but the source system. Okay, so every source system. So maybe some new configuration changes are going to be implemented or something like some accounts have been deleted. So that has to be correctly mapped with your SAP S4HANA target system. So after do every kind of changes, so here it is very, very important that instruction execute this given step in one after the other. If the error occurs, repeat the same step again until the error is resolved. Mean whatever the changes you have done in the source system, whether the changes are going to be impacting to your target system or not. So for every change, you have to do this activity, sir.
Okay.
So you are in the ECC system right now, okay?
No, okay, the necessary changes already came with the support pack. Okay, we are not going to be doing. Okay, so this is all the changes we are doing. Okay, so this is for every month means, okay, we can do it for every quarterly or like that, whatever the changes you are done here. Okay, so there is no log. Okay, as per as seen, okay, there are no logs. Okay, there are no errors are there. So everything your center finance program, whatever the program you are executing, that is looking fine without any changes. Now the necessary changes already came with the support pack. Report execution not required anymore. So what is happening here is nothing but it is telling that so these particular as we are discussing, okay, so these changes whatever the log we are looking, okay, everything is looking fine. So now no need to do any kind of, so from the source system side I see all the changes are properly applicable. No mean to say that from the source system side we have done all the changes and whatever the required configuration which is required before you do the initial load or replication of the data now is looking fine. Everything is looking fine. Now what I will do here is nothing but now I need to go to SLT. If I want to go to SLT, LTRC is the transaction code. We know that LTRC is the transaction code.
Yeah, I look all that up, yes. And when we execute, things should change there, okay?
And here, and one more thing here, in the LTRC, okay, so this is applicable for all the company code, just to view only here. Because see, for example, tomorrow if I'm creating a new company code in the source system, so that in the new company code, again, I have to build the LTRC, that is the SLT. No, SLT is only built only once. If you have 30 company codes or 40 company codes, if you're creating a new company code, LTRC will be remain same, sir. No need to do any kind of changes. Only one thing here is nothing but we have to check, okay, so we have to check whether the status is in green color or not. If the status is in green color, your LTRC system is perfectly working, so there is no need to do any kind of changes. So all the issues means there are no error logs. See here, there are no error logs in the log. So your LTRC system means your SLT is properly built with all the required configuration. You can see here. This is what exactly. So means this is the RFC connection. This is the source system RFC connection. This is the target system. As you can come to know that, okay, I yesterday also told one major important thing. Whenever you are replicating the data from the ECC system to the SAP S4HANA system, I should need the RFC connection. This is not my RFC connection over here. But when you have the non-SAP systems, like you have the legacy systems as non-SAP ERP systems, then you are not going to build any SLT, means you are not going to build any RFC connection between the non-SAP system to the SLT. So you are going to do, what is the activity you are going to do, sir? Anybody can give some idea to me? We don't have the RFC connection, sir. We don't have any kind of RFC connection between the source system to the target system. When you have the source system as a non-ERP.
You have got to give the database name. Or for example, I'm going to build another model here very quickly tomorrow, where I build a small spreadsheet.
That is okay, sir. That is, I'm not talking about that one. That is fine. Okay, so but here my understanding here is I'm putting a question to all of you. I have the source system as an SAP ECC. I have a source system as a non-SAP system. For the SAP system, definitely I had to use the RFC connection. I have to use the RFC connection, which is going to be the RFC connection, which will extract the data from your database and it will replicate the data to your SLT, and through the application trigger base, it will send the data to your central finance. It will do all the technical mapping. But when I am talking about the non-SAP systems,
it should be blank, isn't it?
No. I told one word. Yesterday also we discussed about this point. Okay, so I told one word. Instead of RFC, we have to do
files.
Files. What are the, okay, yes, very good. What are the files? What we do it? What exactly? What we will do? Okay, what if the every 1 hour or 2 hours or every 6 hours or every 10 hours we will do one activity? What is that?
So basically, I mean, it can be done in two ways, right? Either we schedule it on a periodic basis and it keeps looking for a trigger, or actually we set up like, you know, on a night basis, like something like that, you know.
Exactly. So what is that? We call it extraction and loading the data to the staging area.
Correct.
Yeah, it should be the, you know, the option was that is
yesterday also we have seen some settings. Yesterday we seen something. So for when you come to the non-SAP systems, what we will do, sir? We will do the extraction and we'll do the loading of the data to the staging area. So once the data has been loaded, we are okay. That is through the batch jobs. Now what is happening? So what we are going to do here? So we are going to build a ping. Okay, so if we go to AL11, the file path name. So /n, we'll go to AL11. In the AL11, a file dictionary is going to be created. Okay, so automatically. So for example, if I go to this, I assume that this is what exactly our file dictionary. I'll go here, and today, whatever the loads we have done here, whatever the loads we have done from the SAP ECC. Okay, so we can be okay. The file name will be starting with SAP ECC or something like. Okay, so data files. If I go to the data files, how many data files have been loaded? I can go and I can easily see over here. That is what exactly. Now.
So,
sir,
can I add little more information to this?
Definitely, sir. 100%, sir. You are most welcome, sir. Please.
So this is something I have done several times. Okay.
Yeah.
Usually, what we do is, I mean, I come from technical background. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have developed so many interfaces.
Definitely.
The way how we usually do is in AL11 we create directories. You know,
exactly.
like input folder, output folder, archive folder, and error folder.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we know exactly where the files are going to be in the input directory.
Yeah, exactly.
So every time, I mean, like we have you can have a trigger program. It's a small program, utility program, you can call it. It runs in the background for every 15 minutes and it checks if there are any data files.
Exactly.
If it's there, this will be picked up and then, you know, processed.
So what you're going to do, sir, first of all, what is the activity you have done? So you are every something like 15 minutes, you're talking about 1 hour. So you're triggering the files from your non-SAP systems. I'm right?
Correct.
So what
Correct.
is, okay, so you're scheduling a batch. You're scheduling a batch in SAP so that this batch job, what it will do, first of all, the non-SAP people, so they will upload all the files in your SAP dictionary, am I right?
Correct. Correct.
So a batch job is going to be triggered and you see that file is getting uploaded or not. So you'll go to the AL11.
Correct.
So in the AL11, I will come to the correct file path. So I'll go to the AL11. So this is the file path that is going to be the user, SAP, transaction, for example, EPS, and this is the in. In is nothing but inbound, out is nothing but which is going to be called as out. But here, the files I am receiving from the non-SAP system, so it is going to be called as the inbound for me. So here, this is the file path actually. This is what exactly the file. So which file has come? So this is the file path. You can see here, this is going to be called as a file path. Now, if I double click on it, so this is the file which we have uploaded. So you can see this is the file which has got from the non-SAP system to the SAP system. So how this file path has come, as you told just now, so that you have done your work with me.
Yeah.
So we are going to be, this is what exactly which is going to be called as a file triggering. We can call it as a file, a flat file,
Okay.
which has filled by the non-SAP systems and it has got uploaded. And once it has been uploaded in some folder. Okay, so from our batch job, what it will do, every 1 hour, it will extract the data from that particular folder and it will create a batch and it will get posted in your SAP. So this is what you are telling, sir?
Yeah, Mahesh,
Yes.
I know Rajesh has got a technical background, okay?
Yes.
And I have not done that. I've done this in my previous life when working with huge program, huge systems. But in SAP, I did not do a create a file and then put in a directory. Can you just go through the steps, show very quickly, just create a file for one record and show how do you get that file here? The mechanics.
But we don't have the non-SAP system, sir. We are using the SAP system. So
No,
it's not
create a Excel spreadsheet. I mean, that's non-SAP system. That's a file roll. That file has got to be here, right?
It's not. We have to do the settings, sir. We have to run we have to create a batch job and we have to do everything. It's not so. It's not like that. Okay, so you have to do now and we have to create. Rajesh, can you please put some words over here?
So this is what
Ajay sir is asking that, can you show me one example? So I'm telling that, so we have to do the technical settings. So we are not going to be using now the file job because we are using SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA.
Right.
Yeah.
And the file should be in a predefined format, correct? It cannot be in any other format. So, I mean, I don't know if you have any existing files that we can use, then it's easy to upload here. But I mean, again, it's not that once we upload, it's going to work automatically.
And one more thing also, I told very important point I have been told in the previous class also. So when you are using the SAPs, for example here, okay, so when I go to the, okay, so when you go to my initial classes, I told one major the point which we have to be very careful while you are implementing the third-party system. So when I call it as a third-party system, you're not talking about the SAP ECC, you're talking about the non-SAP systems when the non-SAP systems are acting as a source system. So when you are using the source system that uses the third-party databases, for example, third-party databases like okay, you can take it as a DBMS or RDBMS or anything, whatever may be. So I told that there is something like you have to use some business integration scenario in SLT. So that okay, so to do this you have to implement some changes in your following SAP nodes. So what are the nodes? Can you remember that? I told some nodes.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember again what the numbers are.
Okay, so whenever you are using any third-party databases, okay, I told that, okay, to do so, you must implement the changes, the details as per the following nodes. I told that. So what are the nodes? For the SAP ECC, I don't have any kind of objection. Why? Because I'm doing all the changes from the RFC destination, because your RFC is going to be triggering the data from your database and it is pulling out the data. But when I'm using the non-SAP system, so there are two nodes I told about. Okay, so one node is going to be very, very important. Okay, please make a note. Okay, this is for the non-SAP, I told that. Okay, if you go my initial classes, I told that. One node is very, very important. That is going to be the 222. I still remember. Okay, so if I go here, 222, please make a note of this. Okay, 3621. is one note, and the second note is just you have to remember all these things. Why? Because tomorrow you are working on to the SAP in a real time, so that these are the notes we have been applied. Okay, so 2223801. So these are the two nodes you have to remember before you go for any kind of third-party database integration with your SLT to the SAP S4HANA.
So this note should be applied to SLT, right?
Definitely, sir.
Yeah, to be applied.
Definitely. Why? Because if this note is not going to be implemented, so we cannot do anything. So that is what exactly I told, that the note is going to be the very important when you are going to be using the third-party systems as an integrating part. So, and also I told that, okay, so before you go live with SAP, ECC or non-SAP system to the SAP, so there are some period and closing activities, and you have to complete all the closing activities like reconciliations in asset accounting, and you have to complete all the period and closing activities of your vendor, customer, and the GL, and you have to execute your reports and take the snapshots and keep it ready with you, all of you. So before you go for any kind of go live, before you do this go live, you have to do this kind of activity as a part of your prerequisite in your SAP ECC system when you are when something like go living, but tomorrow, therefore tomorrow you have to take all the snapshots and you have to keep it ready with you, all of you. Okay, now when I come here, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. No, not to worry, not to worry. See, for any kind of doubts, okay. So definitely you have to ask me the doubts, and I had to clarify over here. Okay, so okay. Now I'll go to the SAP reference IMG. So when I go to the financial accounting, if I go to this is my SAP S4HANA. Okay, so we are continuing. Now I'll go to the central finance. In the central finance, so where you come to the target system, because you have to make the target system settings. Now you have to come to the mapping. Yesterday we are discussing about the same mapping, and here yesterday we have done the settings of the define the technical settings for all the involved settings. So we have done the settings. If I go here, there are two business systems are there for me. One business system is nothing but your SAP S4HANA system, and one more business system is nothing but your source system. If you have another business system, then definitely I had to use another system over here. The number of source systems you have to be applied over here. Okay, why? Because you are doing the mapping between the source system to the target system. So this is what exactly my source system. So if I go to my source system, if I go to, this is my login to the source system. When I go to the source system here, if I select the SLT and if I go here, very, very important. So this is the idea where I'm going to be putting off all the things over here. Okay, so very, very important. These all processings are going to be important for us. Now this is what exactly my source system RFC connection, and this is my target system RFC connection. So there are two important major things. Okay, one is when your source system to the SLT and through the SLT to the SAP S4HANA. So one RFC connection I'm taking from the triggering of the data from the source system to the SLT, and application triggering base from the SLT to your SAP S4HANA system. So you can see here there are two things are there. Now if I go into the systems and if I go into the status, so I am into the EPX. Okay, so I'm into the EPX. Now if I come here, okay, now you can easily see here. Okay, here if I just scroll down here, so your host system is on SAP ECC, so you are using a non-SAP database. See, non-SAP database, it is not a HANA database, it is going to be called as MSSQL database. So this is what exactly, and your server name is nothing but SAP ECCS underscore EPX 001. Okay, 00, sorry, not 001, it is a 00. Now here, this is what exactly I'm going to be taking. EPX is nothing but your system ID. Client is nothing but your 800. 800 is nothing but your client. So this is what the source system login details. So here we are going to be looking about all the things, and here the system number is going to be taken as the 800. So here you can easily see which system I'm going to be using. So in the same way, you can also identify what is your target system. Now, my target system, this is what my target system, and RFC destination has been given over here. This is my RFC destination. If I go into the RFC destination, so you can see here. Okay, so from here, I just selected, this is my RFC destination, DB2 client 400. And for this RFC destination is going to be. So this is the basic system understanding we had done yesterday. Now, I'll select the source system. I'm selecting the source system. If you have multiple source systems, then all the source systems, business systems has to be given here. But here in our example, we are taking only one source system. Select and double click on define business systems, okay, business objects. So here, these are going to be calling as a business object. Okay, so what business objects you are going to be doing here? Whether you're doing that, there are three types of mappings are there. One is going to be calling it as a key mapping. Second one is going to be calling it as a value mapping, and the third one is going to be called as a cost object mapping. Here you can see all the mappings here. Key mapping. Second one is going to be calling it as a value mapping. So there are three mappings will be there. Key mapping is nothing but where you are going to be mapping of vendor, customers, and the GLs over here. Value mapping is related to your company code, business areas, and everything. When you come to the cost object mapping, the cost object mapping is related to the mapping of your cost centers, WBS elements, production orders. So we are going to be doing all the cost object mapping. So there are three types of business. Okay, there are three types of objects we are going to be taking. One is going to be calling it the key mapping. Second one is going to be calling it as the value mapping, and third one, any of these all are nothing but your cost objects. Okay, these all are nothing but your cost objects. You can see there are several cost objects are there. Okay, there are several cost objects are there. So which cost objects mapping you are going to making, you can take here. Okay, so if I just once, if I go and if I click on new entry, now when I take here key mapping, so the key mapping number is 113736, and also I am doing the view object. Okay, so that is what exactly I'm going to be doing, something called as a value mapping. So for example, here we are taking the two mappings. One is key mapping, another one is the value mapping. Now I have taken, so I'll also take that, I will also take for the source system also. Now save it. Now I'll go one step back. Now in the same way, I select the first one also. My target system is going to be the DB2. Now I'm double clicking on it. Now yesterday we have done these three things. See here, yesterday, this is the target. Yesterday we have done it for the target. Today we have done it for the source. So the target is also, we have done it key mapping and the value mapping. Another one is going to be called as a cost center. Example, we have taken it as a cost center. Now all the three mappings are done here. Now, when I select the key mapping, when I double click on the SAP business systems viewer, that is business objects, okay, communication channel. How do you want to communicate? That is very, very important. So yesterday we have seen here, okay, the files means it is going to be from the third party system. Okay, so we have seen here. If it is a replication via files means it is going to be just now we are extraction and loading the data to the staging area. So the staging area, we are going to be creating one staging area. So time we are not going to be taking here, but also there is one more replication also we have taken, that is going to be called replication via RFC. Replication via RFC. This is what exactly the system settings we are doing for the source system. Now I'll go back. Now I select the SAP system over here. I'll select the SAP system here, and when I double click on it, on the business object, so I'm selecting the business object which is going to be calling it as the key mapping. Key mapping, I told that customer, vendors, assets, and everything will come under the key mapping. Okay, so if I double click on the business object, now here also I need to give the same thing. Okay, so are you going to do with the RFC connection? What is the harmonization key mapping? And here staging area is not required. Why? Because the staging, I'm doing the replication from the SAP to the SAP S4. Staging area is not going to be required. So directly I can go and save it. This is one setting. If you are doing the replication from the file, so this is what exactly I call it as a key mapping.
Mahesh?
Sir.
If you don't mind, I mean, can you please go back to one step? Define business systems BO.
BO, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, Mahesh,
okay.
Can you just go back and play back a little bit and just...
I'll come, sir. Well, let's first, I'll clarify the note with Rajesh and I'll come back to you, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Rajesh. Yes, Rajesh.
Thank you. I got it. I mean, like, here we are only giving what mappings we are going to do.
Exactly.
In the lower level, we are going to maintain like what type of mapping exactly.
Exactly, sir. You're absolutely right.
But did we not define somewhere else? I mean, this
no, we are not. We are only doing the initial settings. So we are defining everything in the next step. See, after you complete this step, here just I'm canceling because I want to show once again. So do you want to save the changes? No, I'm not doing. So here we are going to be defining all the things. So once you do all the technical settings, then we have to come to the define the key mapping, define the value mapping, and we have to define the cost object mapping, and we have to do the COPA mapping, and we have to do all these things.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Mahesh.
So initially, Rajesh, what we are doing here, initially we are set up, initially before you do this, all the mappings, we have to set up the basic settings of the mapping. Then you have to go for each and every value mapping. See, for example I'll show. Okay. So if I come to the value mapping, for example, okay, now, okay. So in the value mapping, assign the codes list to the elements and the system, or maintain the value mapping. Okay, so if you want to maintain the value mapping, which values you want to map? See, these are the value mapping here. Okay, so for example here.
Okay.
Okay, now for example here, now I'll go to the new entry. Now I am taking the data element. So which element you want to do the mapping? So you can have a lot many elements are there. So I'll take one element here. So I'll just, okay. So these are going to be called as elements. Okay. So you can take these are going to be the elements. Okay. So from this, now for example, if I come down, okay, so I'll show one very easy order. Okay. So something like you can easily understand. For example, I'll take something like.
Take maybe something from BKPF.
Not from the BKPF, because this is something.
Hey, Mahesh, you're going forward. Go back because I'm getting lost.
No. I'm not telling about. I'm going to be taking about this character. So just I'm explaining.
Yeah, I want it from scratch.
Yeah. I know. No, I clarify your doubt also. 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. I'll clarify. 1 second. I'll go back. Again, I have to maintain. 1 second, sir. Because I think you all know what is the cross-client specific. I think you know about what is this information.
Yeah.
Because if you do the changes in one client, it will have an effect in other client also. That is what exactly we call it as a cross-client specific. Okay, so here we are going to be taking about all this. So already everything has been taken here, the data elements and everything. Okay, so I'll take one more. Okay, so now for example, I'll take a data element because I'm taking also. I'll take one example as a. I'll come down. So I'll take something. So these all are going to be called as the data elements actually. So I want to take one data element which is going to be calling it as, or otherwise I can directly type here. BLART. Okay, so it is not available. Okay, so this data element is not available, but already somebody has taken as this data element or not. So let me see that first of all.
Document type, right? This
document type already has somebody. Here they have taken. Yeah, it is already there. Document type they already taken, and they have done the mapping also. Very good mapping. Okay, so in the last class, so this BLART mapping has been done. Okay, so like this we are going to be doing. Okay, so all mapping have been done. Okay, so key value mappings have been successfully done. Okay, you can see all the mappings have been done based on the data structure. You can see all are very successfully done. So only few are available, which we have not done. But here all the mappings have been done. I'll show this. Okay. So these are the, okay, as I told you, somebody can tell me now who has done this mapping? Okay, without knowing our information, who has done all this mapping? I told there is one major point I told yesterday. There is one point we have to remember here. If this particular setting is not available, we have to take a license, because if this is available, no need to do any kind of mapping. Then the backend always technical mapping has already been done. What is that?
It's either basis or technical people, ABAPers.
No, MDG.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday I told that MDG. What is the MDG? MDG is nothing but master data governance. Okay, so already if the MDG is going to be in your place, okay, so already the technical mapping in the backend is already done. If you don't have the MDG also, MDG is not a prerequisite. As I told you that MDG is not a prerequisite. So MDG, okay, if you don't have the MDG, you can go and you can do the manual, just how I'm doing the manual, so you can do the manual update. But here already the MDG mapping is there, so already MDG is there, so already the technical mapping is already done. So if I take the BLART, so when I click on the namespace, okay, so already they have done here. This is what exactly the mapping ID, and from which system the ECS system, the BLA RT, what is the version we are going to be taking. And if I select this, what are all the BLA RT is nothing but the document types. BLA RT is nothing but a document type. So what are all the document types we have mapped from the SAP ECC? So when you come to the defined value mapping, okay, so at present there is only one document type which is going to be calling it as a WE. WE is nothing but the goods receipt. We call it as a goods system. In the same way, I can also update other document types like SCA, KR, KZ, KB, KB, everything here. So this is what exactly the mapping where you are going to be doing for the value mapping, which is required for your business transaction process. So this is how we can do. So before the doing, so first we have to complete the technical setting. This is what exactly I'm doing the technical settings over here. Now clear?
Done.
Okay, thank you. Rajesh, your doubt is clear now?
Yes, Mahesh.
Okay, so this is all.
My doubts remain. Just repeat it.
No, not a worry, sir. Not a worry. Okay, so now,
Mahesh,
yes, sir.
How easy it is to copy one source system mapping to another source system mapping? Because I mean, it's not practical, right, to do all the mappings at all times. Even though it's one-time thing, can we copy easily? Let's say you highlight that first DV2 system and then.
Okay, so you're talking about the mapping of all the fields for the another source system. For example, if I have one source system, tomorrow I may get one other source system out.
Yeah.
So you're talking over. So what I will do here, I'll go to the new entry and I will apply the new business system and I'll give all the required parameters for the new system, which we are going to be doing the mapping. Then what I will do here, so you want to copy the existing one. So what I will do here, so whichever the entity you want to copy, just I'll select that entity. Okay, so okay, let us assume that. Now I'll give an example. Okay, now I'll take this. I will give it as EPX. I'll just give it as EPZ. Okay, example. Now this is the new system. So example, understand that. Okay, this is the new system and this is your logical system. RFC destination also being given here. So I'm taking one RFC destination and the file path also I'll be given the file path. Okay, example I'm taking. This is what the setting I have done here, sir. So once you have done the setting, now whatever the file path settings I have done it for EPA, the same settings has to be copied to this particular setting over here. Now what I will do here in this case, so before I do this creation, what I will do here, I'll go back and I'll copy this, sir. Okay. Select. And here there is a copy button is there. Okay, you copy a button and just I'll change the system from EPX to EPZ over here.
Got it. Okay. Yep. Thanks, Mahesh.
Then what is happening? Whatever the parameters, what are all the parameters you have been done the setting for the EPX, all parameter settings will be copied to your EPZ, and you have to do the logical change system and you have to do everything. Now, once I go to the EPZ system, I can see what settings you have done for the EPX. I'll see all the settings are going to be done for the value mapping for all the systems. Yes, sir? Okay, so this is the BO type we have taken the system filtering. Okay, filter has to be done. Okay, object based or the okay. So output is going to be dependent on the object based. So I'm going to be selecting everything. So we have done this. In the same way, when I go here, okay, so system filter has to be done. I'm selecting all the checkboxes. So you have done all the changes between the source system to the target system now. Okay, when I go to the source system, when I see here objects, okay, so all the objects have been mapped. Okay, so the key mapping has been done. So there will be okay, harmonized IDs or no key mapping, or key mapping is nothing but harmonized means what is the harmonized? Anybody can give what is the meaning of harmonized? Harmonized means when you have the same customer number in ECC, I want the same customer number in your SAP S4HANA.
Correct.
So when you are going to be taking as a key mapping, what do you mean by key mapping? When I see the customer number in SAP ECC is 1, when I have the same customer number in SAP S4HANA as a 2, The customer number is going to be different, but the mapping of the fields are going to be the same because I'm doing the technical mapping out here. So that is what exactly you would call it as the key mapping.
Mahesh, can I say one thing? We're approaching about 8 o'clock, and what you call doubts, I missed the ball somewhere on the line. So if you can just go back and capsulize this one more time from A to B, that'll be great, okay?
So I have not done anything, sir. So if I go to the technical settings, first let's see whether both the systems are in place or not, first of all.
Okay.
One is the source system, another one is the target system. Now you are doing the technical mapping between the source system to the target system. So how many mappings are there? There are 3 types of mappings are there. One is going to be calling it as the key mapping. Key mapping is nothing but you are doing the mapping of all the vendors and customers and all the master data related to the source system to the target system. Second mapping is nothing but you can get all the information. Second mapping is nothing but value mapping. Value mapping is nothing but it is not a amount. Okay, amount is not going to be mapped because amount will be get replicated from the source system to the whatever the amount you post in the source system, the same amount will be replicated. But here, when you call it as a value mapping is something related to the company code, business place, business area. These all are nothing but your value mapping. In SAP ECC, I have a company code called as RK02. And in the SAP S4HANA also, the same value mapping has to be done. There should be company code called as the RK02. If the RK02 is not there, in place of RK02, if you have any other company code, the system mapping is wrong. I mean to say that you are not done a proper mapping because RK02 is available in SAP ECC, but RK02 is not available in SAP S4HANA. So that will come under a value mapping. So you're mapping both the company codes. You're mapping both the companies, you're mapping both the business areas, you're mapping the post, all this. This is what exactly you come under the value mapping. And the third mapping, which we call it as cost object mapping. Cost object mapping is nothing but the cost center in SAP ECC having the same cost center in SAP S4, the profit center to the profit center. So like this, production order to the production order. So these all will come under the cost object mapping. Now, what we have to do here is, if we go back, there is called as a documentation, okay? Settings for the mapping. When I go to the settings for the mapping, here you can see here, okay? Key mapping, second one is value mapping, and the third one is cost object mapping. As I told you that, okay, key mapping is related to customer, vendor ID and material ID, and company code, everything, and the production order, internal order, these all are going to be done here. So, for a mass upload and download of key and value mapping, not from the cost object mapping. They are talking only from the point from the mass upload. Okay, for a mass upload, somebody can tell me what is this mass upload? Mass upload is related to the SAP ECC or non-SAP systems.
In my mind, excuse me.
It is nothing but CVS file. CVS file is nothing but it is the non-SAP system. We are going to be talking about the non-SAP systems, not the SAP as it. So for a mass upload and download of the key and value, you can use the central finance managed mapping. So here we are going to do that. Now today we are going to do, okay. So central finance value, okay, we are going to be doing, okay. So let me go back, okay. For mass mapping, okay. So it facilitates and accelerates the mapping task and offers also the template that allows you to prepare the mapping values in the CSV file to the upload. To keep the track of the changes to the mapping, you can use the central finance history for the mapping. So you can, there is one path where you can go and see the history where all the mappings have been successfully done or not. Okay, so okay, after the mapping, we can execute the transaction. Then after you do that, okay, the central finance offer the integration to the master data governance. This is what exactly I'm telling from the starting of the class. The central finance offer the integration to the master data, to access the availability mapping information there. If MDG is not in use, in the background, central finance use the MDG mapping tables that are available without installing the MDG. This does not require MDG license. MDG license is only required if the MDG application is used. Okay. If you use the MDG to distribute the master data throughput your system landscape, it is likely that MDG already contains a lot of information how the mapping is going to be done. So here we have 3 types of mappings. Okay, that all we are going to be doing here. Now, this is what the SAP is telling. Define mapping actions for the mapping entities. Now, if I come to the mapping actions, so these are going to be called as the mapping options. See, just now we had told one example here. Document type. See, here you can see one document type. Where is the BLA or DT? Yeah, here it is. Okay. See, for example, I take it. These all are going to be called as mapping entities. SAP is going to be provide you all the mapping entities over here. Now, for example, I'm selecting the BLART. BLART is nothing but the document type, and I'm double clicking on the set the mapping action for the mapping entities. Okay, I'm doing the mapping of my document type. So this document type will come as a key mapping or it is a value mapping, sir? Everybody, Rajesh, everybody. This document types comes under the key mapping or it is a value mapping?
It will be key mapping because in other system, a particular type of document might have a different entry. So it's going to be a key mapping.
So when you use the same SAP to SAP to SAP S4HANA, I can call it as a value mapping. I cannot call it as a key mapping. No, sir. It's a value mapping actually.
Correct.
Key mapping
Correct.
is only related to the vendors and customers about the master data only. But here the document type is not a master data. No? So document type is the transaction for posting of accounting entries here. Okay. So when I select the BLART, BLART is nothing but the document type, and double click on set mapping action of mapping entities. So when I double click on it, now this is very, very important here. This is very, 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 very important. Now what you're telling here, your business system, EPX client, and there are three options will be provided here. Okay, so keep data, mapping is going to be obligatory, map if possible, and clear the data here. So always we have to do the mapping here. Why? Because whatever the documents I am posting out from SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA, definitely I need to have the mapping. So I'm selecting as a keep data as a mapping whenever the business source system called as EPX. Now I'll go to the new entry. Now I will add one more system over here. So that is what exactly we call it as a DVT2. Now I am doing the similar, that is the keep mapping. Now I'm saving over here. So now I completed both the settings, means you are done it for the both the systems. One is for the DB2, the source system, and here. So what I'm telling to my SAP here, set mapping action for the mapping entity. Both the systems has to do the same mapping of your document type. That is going to be calling it as a BLART. So now how many documents how many document types you have taken? Only one document type I have taken. That is going to be called as a WE. If I go back, if I go to my technical settings, if I select, double click, I think I have done here. Okay, in this system. Okay. Key mapping. See here, we have done it as a key mapping for the harmonized process over here. So we are making the active area. So what does mean the active area? Active area is nothing but we are going to be doing the mapping of all the settings. So this is how we have to do the settings for each and every process. Now the second one. So here, okay. So value mapping is going to be the second one, okay. So first we'll come to the key mapping and then we'll go to the value mapping over here, okay. Now second one. Second one, let me take one example like company codes. Company code is nothing but your legal entity. So I told that company code will come under the value mapping. Key mapping is not coming under the here. So it is coming under the value mapping, okay. So select the company code and double click on set mapping actions of the mapping entities. Now here I'm going to be selecting here, okay, that is going to be called as EPX, and I will add one more system also, okay. I'm adding one more system. The system is going to be called as a DBS. So all the company codes should be same equal keeping of the data. So this is the second part. Now I'm doing the mapping for the company code. So this is how we have to do the mapping for. Then once you are done the mapping, very, very important. And only for mapping, when you go for a real time, when you are implementing the same central finance for your client, only for the mapping, approximately it will take nearly about not less than 50 to 55 days for my experience. I'm telling, because it's a very critical. This has to be done by your functional consultant, not by your technical consultant, because you are a functional consultant. So what I had to do here is nothing but I had to go to ECC system, what transactions they are going to be posting. So what I will do here, I'll come to the FB03. I'll come to the FB03. First, I need to study the system. So I'll come to I'll come to this document. Okay, 2019, just now we have posted. This is the SAP ECC system. Okay. Now here there is only one document. Now, when I have to study all the documents, not only one document. Here I'm looking out for only one document, but there will be different types of documents are getting posted, which is going to be impacting to the financial side. So like there are from purchase documents will be there, sales documents will be there, something like asset accounting documents will be there. Now what is happening? Today in this session we have done only this mapping, the mapping which is related to the company code. Okay, so what is the company code here? The company code is this is the company code we are going to be using, and here we have done the mapping to the BUKRS. Now at the same time we have also done the mapping of BLART. BLART is nothing but your document type. If I press F1, so if I take here technical settings, see here, this is what exactly BLART. BLART is nothing but the document type we are going to be taking. So in the same way, you have to do the mapping not only from the perspective of document type and the company code. Now you have to do the mapping between the GL accounts. GL accounts will come under the key mapping and the posting keys. All this mapping means all the fields which has to be mapped over here. So which has to be mapped. So means all the fields means the fields which we are not going to be using in SAP ECC also should be mapped. No, it's as a kept as optional. But what are all the mandatory? Mandatories, for example, we can take company code, date, period, document type, amount, the GL accounts, and the text and the cost centers. So these are going to be some of the mandatory. So the client will explain to us, okay, so what are all the mandatory fields? So those fields, now I need to map between the source system to the target system. So that mapping we are going to be doing as a basis mapping over here. So that is what we call it as a mapping of action for the mapping entries. Now, after you divide, after you complete, then we have to complete the key mapping, value mapping, and the cost object mapping. So all the mappings has to be done. What cost objects you're going to be? What is your logical system ID? So we need to provide here. So what is the category you are going to be taking? So what are the objects you're going to be? Production orders or sales order or product process orders? So we have to map everything here. So this is going to be called as the cost object mapping. So first we have to do the technical map. We already completed the technical mapping. Now we are doing in the process of mapping of action for the mapping of entry. So you have to complete. Now these are the mapping entities which are going to be provided for each and every part. Now from here you need to select what are all the mappings I had to do as per the process of billing area, something like sales order or something like whatever maybe. So each and every path I had to do perfectly. Otherwise, what is happening when I'm posting a document from SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA, if something is going to be missing here, then whatever the mandatory fields you are specifying, then if the mandatory field is not getting updated, then in my AF application interface framework, the particular transaction is getting failed because this particular mandatory information is not filled up during the posting of the transaction from SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA. So this mapping, you will get the data from the client, sit with the client, understand the transaction process, what they are going to be doing, and make a list of all the transactions and understand what are all the mandatory fields the user is entering in each and every transaction, so that I can make a note and I'll come to the mapping entities. I will do all the proper mapping over here. Then after this completing only, then I had to divide all the mappings based on the key mapping, value mapping, and the cost object mapping. This is a vast step, I'm telling. This is just like a step which is taking the huge amount of time to do the mapping. If the mapping fails, your transaction is going to be failed. So this is very, very important. So whatever the initial load you are going to be doing, whatever the system setup you are going to do, that's not bothered about for my side. But as a functional consultant, you are a functional consultant, because technical consultants will not understand about the terminology they are going to be using. So it's a functional consultant responsibility to understand the mapping fields between the source system to the target system. So if something goes wrong, then the mandatory information is going to be filled in the AF. AF is nothing but the tool where I'm going to monitoring all these kinds of. So if I go back, AF is the tool. Now here, this accounting interface, this is the tool I'm going to be having. So I'm going to monitoring all these errors are going to be displayed. What type of errors? Some mandatory field is missing, some value is missing, some key value mapping is missing, some value based mapping, some cost object mapping is missing. So I'll get all the errors here based on the date. So which date you want to see, you can get the date. So this is what exactly. So I have the calendar based triggering of AF. So from which date to which date? I want to see all this. See, for example, now I'm the 10th month. So today's date is going to be the 8th. So if I double click on 8th, now here, now if I click on the display errors only means in this particular date, I don't see any kind of errors. So switch mode display, no all the messages. So means no errors have been found, means all the transactions have been posted successfully. So this is the basic thing. We have to do the mapping of all the customers and vendors. So
Mahesh,
yes, sir.
I have a question regards to mapping.
Yes, sir.
Have you done the mapping using MDG or any other method?
No, we have done the mapping using with the basic manual mapping, not MDG. So MDG is also there, but we are not using the MDG. Actually, we have done the manual mapping, which from field to field over, we have done it.
Okay. So there are other types of, there are multiple possibilities, right? I'm not sure. I mean, there's something called migration cockpit.
Now that is, sir, migration cockpit is something called as uploading the data. It's not a mapping actually. It is an uploading. See, earlier we are using the LSNW. Now we are using the migration cockpit.
Okay. So it's not something that...
No. It's not related to the mapping, sir. A migration cockpit is something like, see, for earlier we are using LSNW. LSNW, we are going to be using to upload all the customers' vendor balances from the legacy system to the SAP. That is the uploading of all the balances and the master data. That is, now today we are going to be calling it as a migration cockpit. So the transaction code also LTMC. Okay, so you can use, okay, so /n. So there is a, okay, so okay, we are not activated. So we are going to be using LTMOM tool is one of the, okay, LTRC, LTMC is the tool we are going to be using as a migration cockpit. So here it is not activated. So I'll activate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Question number one.
What exactly? So this is what LTRC is. So here you are going to be doing. So this is what exactly you call it as a migration cockpit here. Okay, migration data over here.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, Ajay. The reason I'm asking is, what are the benefits of doing via MDG instead of going manual?
Benefits means, see, that was very good question, sir, actually. So if I go with the manual, I have a very clear understanding whether I have done all the mapping fields. There will be some called as the customizing fields or also will be done. See, MDG is nothing but master data governance based on the standard. But when you go for the transaction, each and every transaction, there are something like they have enhanced, they have been using some baddies and they have incorporated some custom fields over there. So those custom fields are very, very important actually as per the requirement of the client. So I don't want to miss those information into my SAP S4HANA. So in this case, I will go for the manual instead of using the MDG. If it is a standard, if everything is looking at the standard process without any customization, something like that, I'll go for the directly with MDG, not go for any manual.
Okay, my next question for you.
Yeah.
For example, I want to write an algorithm, okay? If X is equal to 6, do this. If X is equal to 10, do Y. So I call it if condition, nested if, okay? Where do I specify such conditions when I do the mappings? Is there a way?
So I'll tell you, if in the source system, I'll take same example of BLRT, okay? Now in the source system, what is the document type you are using for posting of the general ledger transaction? SA, I'm right? SA is going to be called as a document type. Now, if the statement I'm putting here is nothing but if general ledger documents are getting posted with SA, then the source system target to the processing of the data to the target of SAP S4HANA should be get posted to the same document type of SA, not with any other documents.
Correct.
So like that, I am going to do the mapping over here.
All right. So Mahesh, did you find out, did you have an update for us as how long we'll have the system?
I just replied, okay, so I'll get the information by today, sir.
Yeah, because I think the key to this, all these courses, in my mind, is just practice, as you said. That more we practice,
all the things has to be done with the practice only, sir. Now I'm giving each and every detail as an explanation part to you, all of you. Okay, so this is very important, sir, because tomorrow I may or may not be there for you to assist you because of time consuming, but my videos is definitely going to help you out for you to understand the process. So take my inputs and do the practice very hardly so that you will be made as a consultant as a central finance.
Mahesh, I want to compliment you. Something you said yesterday. I spent quite a bit of time on the videos today. Okay, I mean, for each hour, I will spend about 2.5 hours just going step by step. So
okay,
very
I'm going to clarify all the doubts. So what if you have done the practice, you'll get a lot of doubts. Then there will be a comfort time meeting to clarify all your doubts over there. See, once you've done this value mapping, once you complete this mapping part, major part of the portion has been completed. So we are going to be using something called as a commitments. Okay, we are going to be using like a COPA, and we are going to use like a production. Okay, so the major part comes from the mapping only.
Exactly. I mean, this is the heavy chapter. I mean, this is a heavy duty chapter.
Exactly. Okay, so tomorrow we'll see.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.